Welcome back for another video. We've got Gabriel injured, we've got Isak flagged with a possible injury, we've got double game week 32 around the corner, double game week 33 as well, predicted to immediately follow as well. So lots to think about. Who are the best players to buy this week though? And if you've got your wildcard active, or assistant manager active even, who are the best picks? So we know Newcastle and Palace doubling game week 32, which does make Pope a really brilliant pick. It's Leicester away next. They just cannot find the back of the net right now. The last time they scored was game week 23 against Spurs, and that's the only game they've scored in over the last 10 matches they've played. Man City only conceded 0.07 expected goals against them. So for 4.9 mil, Pope looks like a great option. You get that Leicester fixture, and then you get Man United and Palace home in double game week 32. And then it's Villa, and of course, if you've used your free hit, then the other really appealing factor of the Newcastle assets is they've got Ipswich home in blank game week 34. So triple Newcastle looks like an absolute must if you've got no free hit. I mean, arguably is anyway if you're able to get to triple Newcastle, particularly if you're on a wild card. There's no reason not to triple up. It's Raya once again top of the keeper projections though, 4.3 points against Everton next. Absolutely brutal late clean sheet wipeout and stoppage time against Fulham last match. There are a few things in life more painful than a last minute clean sheet wipeout. Raya, of course, predicted to double in game week 33, and there's a strong chance that we get this announced before the deadline anyway, but not totally guaranteed. Either way, they do have a postponement against Crystal Palace to be rearranged, so Raya's a logical pick on a wildcard. Staple keeper really. The other keeper kind of depends on chip strategy. We're predicting a double game week 33 for Arsenal, Villa, Palace and Man City, so this makes bench boost game week 33 really appealing. However, game week 32 bench boost actually looks just as appealing really. Now, you won't have doublers on your bench in game week 32 of course, but you've got some favourable fixtures to target, like Brighton home to Leicester, Forest home to Everton, Chelsea home to Ipswich. In game week 33 you've got those four keepers of course likely doubling, but as far as defenders, like there's West Ham, we've got Southampton home, so Wan-Bissaka works. And then there's the likes of Konsa with a likely double, albeit not a good one. If you're on a wild card and you're looking to bench boost, then just have a play around with potential bench boost for game week 32 and 33 and just see which you like more. It's very split among the community and there's no right or wrong answer right now, both look great. I'm on a game week 33 bench boost myself, but the appeal with the 32 bench boost is as soon as possible, straight after your wild card. Whereas things can go wrong when you leave it a few weeks. Like just after my wildcard, I've already got Isak and Gabriel flagged for example, and more could go wrong before 33. So let's move on to the defenders. What's the latest on Gabriel? Well, we've had no real update yet. Arteta said that he and Timber are going to be assessed after being forced off last match. Gabriel was clutching his hamstring, so it could be a couple of weeks or so out potentially. Massive spanner in the works for those of us that literally just wildcarded him in. Really is peak FPL where he's played basically every game the last 2 seasons, then he gets injured the week that hundreds of thousands of wildcards are active. So it's Saliba who's top this week on 4.4 points. If you've got Gabriel, then don't make the switch just yet, wait for further news. Like, he could be back by game week 33, in which case riding it out and saving a free transfer looks like the play. If you're on a wildcard, then just get Saliba. Timber is a little bit risky as well, even if he's declared fit, as there is White threatening his minutes, though White was missing from the squad last match. I'd rather play the safer minutes right now. Like, Arteta might look to use his depth around the Real Madrid games, which is after game week 31 and after game week 32. Saliba, we know he's going to start every game, but the same can't definitely be said with certainty about any other Arsenal defenders. So Trippier, Shea and Livramento all climbing to the top defenders this week for that Leicester fixture. Who's the best one then? Well, if money's no object, then Trippier on paper is likeliest to get you an attack in return, but he is 5.6 mil. Shea is 5.4 mil as well, so they're both pricey. I actually ended up with Burn on my wildcard. I mean, to be honest, none of them have got good underlying numbers from an offensive perspective. Burn's taken 14 shots to Livramento's 3 this season, 1.89 XGI for Burn, 1.43 for Livramento. It's Shea's top with 2.44. Trippier's obviously played far fewer minutes, so he's rock bottom with that in mind. It was Burn, of course, who scored that crucial goal in the League Cup final, and he's a huge threat in corners and set pieces. So Spurs are home to Southampton. Now, I wouldn't recommend buying Romero or Porro, who are on the table here for that fixture, but right now the focus is the double game weeks, which should yield us more points. Instead, Munoz is the more sensible defender pick. It's Brighton home next for Palace. He doesn't quite make the table this week, but then it's double game week 32, and maybe another double game week immediately afterwards. Now only Vardiol and Trent can better his 6.53 expected goal involvement this season. Last match, we saw Kuznov miss out, which saw Vardiol in a more restricted centre-back role. O'Reilly played in left-back, and he was the one with the licence to get forward. However, Vardiol's still the best City defender by a mile, to be honest with you. Next best would be Ruben Diaz, who should play every game as well, since they've got the likes of Ake, Stones and Akanji all out currently. If you're extremely tight for money and you're looking to bench boost Gameweek 32, then Dunk is only 4.2 mil. He's got Leicester home that week, and he was back from injury and in the starting 11 last match. Potentially not back to full fitness just yet though, given his 72nd minute substitution. Besides Konsa, the other Villa defenders just look too unreliable for minutes right now. I mean, Emery's got loads of centre-backs available. Likewise, Digne and Maatsen could even share minutes in left-back, as they juggle Champions League as well. So just go for Konsa or avoid the Villa defenders. Midfielders next. Is it as simple as Salah captain again then, or is there a case for others? Salah and Son joined top this week, 6 projected points, Palmer's on 5.5. I mean, it was a really rare, quiet game from Salah last match. I think he's only blanked like 4 times all season. I mean, Isak was looking like a really strong contender for captaincy, wasn't he? But now he's a question mark. We'll obviously discuss the forwards in a second. Palace are going to be so disappointed by the 1-1 draw against Southampton. That was a game that we thought there could be loads of goals in. It's a game they should be winning. Blanks from Munoz, Eze, Sarr and Mateta. They do remain really strong picks though, fundamentally. Like Brighton home's a pretty decent entry point before the double game week if you need to buy this week. Or if you're in a wildcard, then definitely go triple Palace. The interesting thing is, Review's algorithm favours Eze, despite Sarr dominating lately. Now there is the potential penalty share factor, and there's the set pieces as well of Eze. But if we look at the last 6 game weeks, Sarr's got 4.29 expected goal involvement. That's really high. Whereas Eze's is 1.88. 6 big chances for Sarr, none for Eze. And Sarr's even creating more chances as well. So, and honestly, it's really hard to justify the 1.1 mil difference right now. That all said, I do think running with both is perfectly fine for the next few game weeks. You might even want to keep them beyond the next few, because they've got a chance of doubling in Game Week 36 as well. So Foden was an unused substitute last match, he's on the table here. There has been some reports that he struggled with the mental fatigue side of the game this season, so perhaps Pep was managing him. It's the Manchester derby next though, huge game. And in my eyes he does start, so don't sell him, he's fine to start even. He certainly looks a bit of a dodgy buy though, so I think he's in the don't buy, don't sell territory now. Savinho is actually the first Man City mid to pass 100 points this season after his 11th assist of the season last match. He looks the slightly better pick right now and he's cheaper. So Palmer or Saka on the wildcard then, what's the verdict? Well, the time to have Palmer was probably before Game Week 30 really, because you get those 2 home games in 3 game weeks before you switch to Saka when he probably doubles. Unless you've got loads of transfers banked, then I think Saka straight off the bat makes slightly more sense in the wildcard now. Arteta said he's ready. He was named on the bench of course, but he scored barely 5 minutes after coming on and even got a couple of bonus points. Honourable mention to Rodgers, 2 assists last match for an 11 pointer. That puts him on 7 goals, 7 assists this season. And remember, he only started the season at 5 mil. He's on my watch list as a potential Murphy replacement after his double game week. Even Watkins was benched. Rodgers has started all but 1 game this season. In the interim, I do think Murphy looks a brilliant pick for 5 mil. It's Leicester next of course, and then it's that home double game week. And then you consider selling him straight after that. So it's really nice back-to-back game weeks for him. It's worth mentioning, of course, Gordon has served his 3-match suspension now, so he's also available, assuming he's over his injury. But is he 2.4 million better than Murphy though? Like, Gordon's only got 7 more points over the whole season, so it is hard to justify him. You could go for triple attack with Murphy, Gordon and Isak of course, especially when it's such a great entry point this week. Or if you get some bad news on Isak in the coming days, then you could go double Newcastle midfield and 1 defender. So onto the forwards next, and again Solanke's top this week, but there's not much logic in buying him or Son, unless you were looking for a 1-week punt and you want a wildcard Game Week 32 for example. Marmish on the score sheet again last match. It does suddenly feel like the pool of forwards has become really slim. Wood's kind of out of the equation now, and we're kind of filtering towards double Game Week forwards, aren't we? Isak's the staple pick, Mateta doubles in 32, maybe 33 as well, and likewise Marmish should in 33. It's the wildcard template front 3 for sure, those 3. If Isak is ruled out of Game Week 31, then I think I'd still keep him if you've got him and just hope that he's fine by Game Week 32. I'd probably even buy him on a wildcard, because it doesn't sound serious, and you just bench him for this week. Howe said the following: he wasn't feeling 100% and he wasn't sure on his movement, hopefully he's okay. The problem is they do play on Monday, so on the one hand it is a 5-day turnaround, so they've got the biggest gap basically of all teams. The bad news is there won't be a press conference before the deadline, so we won't hear from Howe on that. Not that he probably would have told us the truth anyway. So it's kind of a case of start him and hope for the best. Maybe avoid captaining though. Unless we get some news on him from other sources pre-deadline. Given Mateta has looked a bit off it since returning from injury, which is understandable by the way, you could argue a case for going Marmoush, Isak and Watkins as a front three. Watkins very rarely rested and he should still be reliable for minutes moving forward. He's at his rest now. At the end of the day, PSG are massive favourites to knock them out, and Emery's also got to put equal priority in the Premier League really. Like they're right on the cusp of a Champions League spot in the table. It's really tight right now. If you are tight for money on the wildcard and you're looking to bench boost 32, then go back to Brighton. You could consider João Pedro, 5.6 mil. He's kind of the perfect bench boost forward for that Leicester home game. It's not the end of the world either if you can't afford the wildcard template front three of Marmoush, Isak and Mateta. Like using last game as an example, loads went for Evan Nilsson instead, who were tight for money. And of course he scored against Ipswich. And the same logic applies to João Pedro now with that Leicester game coming up, and it's home. It's a very popular assistant manager week as well, given the upcoming doubles, so let's finish with a quick look at which teams are predicted to do best. I've added a next 3 predicted points column as well, which makes sense to look at, especially this week. So in terms of next week in isolation, it's actually Potter top, 8.9 points. He's eligible for table bonus against an out of form Bournemouth side playing home. Brentford also eligible home to Chelsea, so they're in second. However, if I was using the chip this week, it'd be on one of Howe or Glasner. Villa winning last match and Brighton losing did mean that Villa are now ineligible for table bonus against Forest, otherwise Emery would have been an awesome option. Howe's 1.5 mil though, which is a bit steep and obviously uses up a spot from Newcastle. Glasner's 0.8 mil, so just choose accordingly based on your budget. I'm hoping we get that confirmation of double Gameweek 33 before the deadline, because Arteta and Guardiola both look great as well. My favourite path is you go Howe for Gameweek 31 and 32, and then you swap to another double Gameweek manager. Obviously, as I say, managers do use up one of the 3 slots that you get per team, so swapping to Pep might be the best play, given there's not really 3 must-have City players. Vardy or Marmoush might be enough, to be honest with you. Villa, the other team really, they don't have 3 stand-up picks. Like Konsa's okay, Watkins should be okay, Rodgers, Rashford and Asensio kind of in the discussion there, but you'd feel comfortable enough going into double Gameweek 33 with only 1 or 2 Villa players, and likewise City, wouldn't you? Anyway, that wraps up the players to buy video. Hit like if it was helpful and make sure you subscribe for the team selection, which is going to follow later today, and the experts tomorrow. See you soon for the next one.